All right, guys, we are covering 3 big mistakes that people keep making that's actually hurting them in their job search. And here's the kicker. People assume that this is actually good advice. All right, so we're going to get into it right now. If this is your first time here, my name is Brian. Good to meet you. And just so you guys know, I'm here to help you unlock a rewarding career and to create a life you're proud of. And if you want more tips on job search, career growth to help you land that next pivotal role, be sure to subscribe. So let's talk about the first big mistake, and that is using that LinkedIn hashtag open to work or putting that in your profile picture. I get it. You want to notify people that you are looking for new opportunities and that you're open to work. But here's the thing. It doesn't make you look like you're in demand. You're sending the signal that, hey guys, I'm unemployed right now and I need some help. I get the intention there, but here's the thing. Whether this is subconscious or a bias that people have, recruiters, headhunters, they want best in class. They want high performers, right? And when you have that hashtag, you're essentially telling people like, hey, I'm actually not working. Right now, if you were a high performer, if you were best in class, you would be in demand. You would be working. And this is kind of the issue. So a recruiter is going to want to have someone they can't get, right? And they want to bring them over to another company or bring them on board to another employer. And you may be thinking like, well, that's not fair. And you're right. It's not fair. Kind of like, using the example of cell phones, you've got your iPhone and then you've got like your Sonys and your LGs. And technically speaking, they all do the same thing. They're way more spec'd out than you could ever need. And yet, for whatever reason, everyone gravitates to the iPhone or to the Samsung Galaxies, but the LGs and the Sonys of the world, no one's really buying them. It's this idea of wanting what everyone else wants that is really the big driver here. And that's the idea we're trying to tap into when it comes to this whole LinkedIn open to work hashtag. And this is why when you're using that, you're kind of saying that you're not one of those in-demand people. So I really strongly recommend that you remove it. Now, you may be wondering, well, Brian, I still want to get the word out and I'm not stopping you. Still, put that post out there. Let people know that you are open to opportunities. Maybe you can share a story about how your company let you go due to COVID or for whatever other reason, or maybe they weren't sharing in a value that was really important to you. Whatever the case may be, you can still put that out there within reason. Reach out to people, email them, set up those coffee chats. Just do it under the radar so you've got your public profile out there. This doesn't signal that you're looking for an opportunity, but then in the background, you're doing all the work. So let's move on to the second mistake. And that is this idea of putting way too many certifications, education, and career goals on your resume, right? So the classic example is this. People want to, let's just say, get a job in regulatory affairs. And then they decided to get a certification in project management. And they're thinking, well, project management is a good skill to have in an organization so that you can help with the whole rollout of a project, right? The whole execution of that, and having that skill set, that background or that foundation will help you in that regulatory affairs role, which I understand on the surface. But when you put it on paper, on your resume, it actually looks like you don't know what you want to do, right? Are you a project management person or are you a regulatory affairs person? I have no idea, right? And at the same time, maybe I'm thinking that you don't know either. Creating questions. And as a hiring manager, I prefer someone who is committed to regulatory affairs. So if you are thinking about adding education or doing another program or another certification, by all means, look into it, but make sure it doesn't dilute you career-wise. So the big recommendation here is that on your resume, you need to be laser focused. If you're gunning for a project management role, everything needs to be tailored to that. All the education, the certifications, the same thing with regulatory affairs. If you want to get into regulatory affairs, make sure that all the additional skills and education that you are gathering is going to help you with regulatory affairs. Isn't going to dilute you away from that and into another function. And the last thing we want to do is plant the seed into the hiring manager's mind that, maybe you want regulatory affairs today, but maybe tomorrow with the right salary or the right opportunity, you're going to jump over to project management. We want to make sure that you are laser focused and committed to the career that you're gunning for. And to the third mistake, and that is to be yourself. And now I get it, right? A lot of people say you want to be natural. You want to let yourself shine and essentially be yourself during the interview. You want to be comfortable. You want to reflect you. You don't want to be fake. I get that part. But here's the thing. There's a difference between being authentic and communicating what you're looking for in a role versus being too comfortable, too lax, almost unprepared and lazy because you want to be yourself. And being yourself means winging it, or being yourself means not trying to put up a front and dressing nice, right? You need to emphasize how important it is to be the best version of yourself for the specific role, for the purposes of an interview. And yeah, it's going to feel a little bit weird. And yes, it's going to feel a little bit fake, but it's no different from me trying to present the best version of myself if I were to go on a date, to shave, to shower, to go to the gym, and to put a nice smile on my face and to come up with good conversational topics and to be on your best manners. I know some people have shared some frustration, like, why do I have to be fake? Why can't the interviewer just see me for who I am? Well, the reality is that the interview process is a very important process, right? The company is going to invest $60,000 in you a year forever. And that's a huge chunk of money, right? And I mean, if it were you on the other side, if it was your cash, wouldn't you want to make sure you hire the best person, a person that cares, a person who is presenting themselves well, a person who cares about themselves enough to present themselves well and to prepare for the interview? And yeah, you want to be authentic, you want to be genuine, but at the same time, you're going to have to be a little bit uncomfortable to present this great professional persona that is reflective of you, but to that elevated interview level. All right, guys, moving on to a bonus tip. And that is when people are answering the question around salaries, they make the common mistake of not revealing the salary figure that they want. And the thinking here is that if you reveal the number that you want, you may undershoot or overshoot the company's budget for the role, and as a result might turn the employer off, right? I mean, if you undershoot, you're leaving money on the table, and if you overshoot, they're like, I can't afford you, end of conversation. So they're scared to reveal that number. But here's the thing, when you don't reveal the number, you're actually turning off the recruiter or the hiring manager because they're like, oh, here we go. Another person that's trying to hide the number and play this negotiation game. They don't have time for it. They know what the budget is for this role, and they really want to cut to the chase and figure out, is it worth having this conversation with you, or are you out of my range or not? That's all they're trying to figure out. And for a lot of people, they're scared that they're going to undershoot the number, right? They're going to aim for a number that's way below their budget. And as a result, they might not get the full salary that they could have hopefully have gotten. And to that point, this is where your research really needs to come in. You need to do the research and figure out what your market value is. And then on top of it, calibrate that to the appropriate company size, right? Some organizations are huge global organizations. They can afford you at a much higher salary range than, say, a small business or privately owned business. So you really have to make that adjustment and know what your true market value is. Once you've locked that down, chances are you're going to hit a number that's definitely going to be within their budget. And as a result, you're going to impress the employer. You guys are going to be meeting in that acceptable range. Things are going to continue. So guys, don't shoot yourself in the foot by hiding your salary figure. So that's it. And if you want more tips on salaries, I want you to download this salary negotiation PDF. It's a quick read to help you get through those awkward salary questions. Guys, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.